Cheektowaga. Cheektowaga. If the name wasn't hard enough to pronounce itself, there's a lot going on inside this town. Now, there's a lot of mixed feelings about the Cheektowaga area. I lived here all of my teenage and part of my adult life, so I can tell you a thing or two. They recently just had a huge tax hike, and because the mall and airport are right inside the town, you'll get crowded areas sometimes, and for sure, you'll definitely get a lot of highway noise and airport noise as well. Don't mistake this area for being super noisy, polluted, or overly expensive, because now that just wouldn't be true. Most people love the fact that the location/proximity of Cheektowaga is unbeatable. Plus, the diversity across Cheektowaga over these last couple years has increased exponentially. For a suburb, it's one of the most affordable that you can live in, if not the most affordable, starting at an average home price of only $205,000. Cheektowaga area is absolutely unbeatable. I'm telling you, it's unparalleled compared with any other suburb and the proximity that you have going inside the city. You're literally 8 to 10 minutes away from the mall, 8 to 10 minutes away from the airport, and you're literally, depending on where you are, which suburb you're trying to get to, max 15 minutes away. There's no other suburb that meets in the middle the way Cheektowaga or the town of Cheektowaga is when it comes to location.
To add on to location, it's important to know that there's actually 4 different school districts that serve that community. You have Cleve Hill, Maryvale, Cheektowaga Central, and JFK.
Yep.
So depending on what the statistics are that you want to send your babies to, what school district, different things that are important to you, you're going to want to make sure that you're within the parameters of whichever school district it is that you decide. Something to be aware of is the taxes in Cheektowaga. Many people in the recent years have been upset about the reassessments that have taken place in Cheektowaga.
Here in Cheektowaga, which begins next hour. Now, residents also tell me they were given no warning about these property reassessments, and even the town supervisor tells me that she is outraged.
Oftentimes, when we're going to get into this, the houses are roughly 1,500 square feet, and in some cases, maybe a little bit larger, in other cases, smaller as well. But they're paying up to, I just looked at a property the other day, it was $7,500 a year annually in taxes.
Crazy.
Now, Cheektowaga is great. There's a lot that's offered there, and we're going to continue to get into what those features are. But there's other areas in the Western New York location that people maybe consider desirable, and you really get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of what that community has to offer in exchange for your taxes. Cheektowaga, I would say, maybe falls on the bottom of the middle of what they have to offer. So when you're paying comparably the same taxes as those other locations, people are wondering why.
Especially for Cheektowaga schools, and I went to Cheektowaga schools, so I know firsthand that is not the absolute worst school in the world, but it's not the best. It's not an Orchard Park, it's not a Williamsville and stuff like that either, statistically, just being honest and looking at the stats.
And we actually have another video that references some of the top school districts in the area, so you're going to want to check that out, and you can kind of see what we're talking about. All of those statistics are available at niche.com, so feel free at the end of this video to go check that one out and see a little bit more what we're talking about.
The next one can be seen kind of as like a pro or a con, right? Matt just talked about it. You don't get the biggest house in Cheektowaga depending on which side that you're on, and we'll really dump into this. I'll explain what I'm talking about. Yes, it's affordable, but again, those taxes that you pay for a $205,000 house when Amherst is literally next door to Cheektowaga and their average is $376 or something like that, roughly around the same taxes, you can kind of see where we're talking about with this kind of pull on you or which direction that you guys want to go. If we look at a map, here's what I'm talking about, this separation. When we look at a map, there's a street called Broadway. Literally, train tracks is not as bad as y'all think in the old Southern times. Nothing crazy like that. But Broadway is going to really be that breaking point of Upper Cheektowaga or that Cleve Hill, Maryvale area. And then South Cheektowaga is really going to be that borderline. And here's where it does change, which is crazy. Not only does the housing stock change, you're probably talking about 1,100 to about 1,500 like Matt said. But in the South Cheektowaga, you do bump up quite a bit, starting around that 1,500 square foot mark, but you also jump up another 30 grand to about 235, 240 as a starting or average price inside that South Cheektowaga area.
Now, as Devonte mentioned in regards to the sales price, that's still a good price in the Western New York area, especially over the past couple of years, because houses in some of your other areas, North Towns, South Towns, are going for exorbitant amounts of money considered for the Buffalo market. Now, again, as many of you are relocating here from other more expensive areas, you're still going to be like, are you kidding me? That's cheap. But for this market, things are up about 20% on average. So what to expect for architecture and the variety of homes in the Cheektowaga area? They are not necessarily, you get some communities that are very cookie cutter. Most of them are built in about the mid 20th century, so anywhere from like 1950 to 1970s and early 80s. You're really not going to find anything in the 2000s in Cheektowaga, and if you did, it was going to be infill, but a lot of people just aren't building houses there. So a lot of it is older inventory. You're going to either have 2 bedrooms downstairs, 2 bedrooms upstairs, a lot of 1 baths. If you find
that's a good point.
A lot of 1 baths.
Good point.
So if you find a 1.5 baths, usually that alone is going to make the price go up because people want the lower price, but they're willing to pay a little bit more for the extra half bath. Now, if you don't have 2 bedrooms downstairs, it's going to be 1 bedroom with a dining room. The other ones don't have a dining room. Okay, and that's super common in the Cheektowaga area because, again, when you're only dealing with 1,300 square feet,
it ain't a lot of room.
It's not a lot of room, and you got to make the space count.
Another thing that you're going to see a lot of in Cheektowaga is finished basements. People finish their basements like crazy. And I've seen, especially with the rise of HGTV and all of the DIYers, you're going to find a ton of handiwork that's done. Some a little better than others, but the ones that do it right, it really is beautiful.
It's beautiful. And you may not necessarily have an 8.5 foot basement down there. A lot of people are doing, they'll spray the undercoat black or, all the floor joists black, put some recessed lighting down there, keep all the walls white or gray or something real light. And it makes the basement look way, way bigger than what it is. But we both know you'll find bars down there. You'll find, people will redo the floor, maybe raise it up an inch or something like that after they put their sub pump in so you don't have any water issues or you ruining your basement. There's a lot of things that people do in the Cheektowaga area that really make a house, the extra 1,300 square feet, put an extra 5 downstairs, especially in the Depew area, Matt.
Absolutely. And the other nice part about this area too is you do have a decent sized yard. Most of the houses do have a yard, and a lot of them too have a garage. So, you don't have an acre or 2 acres, but you have, maybe a 0.25 size lot in some cases above, in some cases below. But you're going to have a garage, you're going to have a back patio. You see a lot of back patios, back decks in Cheektowaga. So don't think you're necessarily exchanging your outdoor living in exchange for the lower price and the proximity of Cheektowaga. You still get those factors as well.
Here's some more drawbacks. I know we talked about real estate for a little bit, but that's key. Knowing where you live is going to be key in what you're going to get yourself into. Now, here's a drawback at Cheektowaga. Location is great, all those good things, right? Not too expensive. When it comes to noise, though, you are, again, 8 minutes. Some of y'all can be 4 minutes from the airport. You're going to be in a flight path when it comes to Cheektowaga, hands down. I don't care what part of Cheektowaga you live in, you're going to see planes over your head most of the day. And the closer you live to Genesee, the closer you live to Dick Road or maybe Harlem Road or Cleveland Drive, the closer you live to those main streets, the more noise you're going to hear when it comes to Cheektowaga. Is it overbearing? No. Will you hear it when you're inside the house? No. The airport, well, really the town has really forced the airport to put in these kind of noise canceling windows inside of a lot of those kind of homes in that small circumference area, so you won't hear it inside the house. But if you're barbecuing or you're hanging your clothes on the line and you're outside and you live that much closer or inside that flight path in Cheektowaga, you will hear, and it can be very, very annoying when it comes to the Cheektowaga area. The same thing with the highway. The 90 and the 290, depending on where you are in Cheektowaga, even the 33 can cut right inside your backyard. So you can hear hear or see the highway right from your backyard, depending on what location or what area you guys are inside of Cheektowaga.
Cheektowaga has a lot of different benefits in terms of outdoors, recreation, and community. According to niche.com, which we encourage you to check out, it is considered to be a family-friendly area because of the parks, because of the sidewalks, and because a lot of these are cul-de-sacs and or just neighborhoods. So you're going to see people walking, you're going to see them walking their dogs, riding bikes, doing all of the things that people love to do when the weather's nice in Buffalo. And believe it or not, it actually does get nice in Buffalo. And when it's nice, it's really nice. So you're going to see all of those different things. Now, they also are notorious for having an active police presence who keeps the residents safe.
Sometimes it is they'll bother you every now and again, but Cheektowaga police has a good and bad reputation, but they are present in the community, let's say like that.
And there's actually a lot of turnover right now in the Cheektowaga area because a lot of, again, talking about the early 1950s, 1960s, the population of Cheektowaga is getting a little bit older. So you're going to see a lot of those neighborhoods start to sell because those folks are just getting older, passing away, moving to retirement homes. So Cheektowaga is a hot area, and it is somewhere that you should consider.
Very true. Very true. I like that.
All right, and lastly, one of the things that I just want to mention is the weather in Cheektowaga. Now, you say we're living in Buffalo, so what do you mean by the weather, Matt? Well, this is what I mean. Different parts of Buffalo, especially as you move here and get assimilated, you're going to realize that different locations within Buffalo have different weather. For example, the north towns usually and historically get less snow than the south towns. But in recent years, especially in that midsection where you've got Depew, Lancaster, Cheektowaga, right in between what's considered to be the north and the south towns, they've been getting a ton of snow. We've had these recent storms lately where we're getting 6, 7, 8 feet of snow, and it's usually landing right there in the middle, which means Cheektowaga. So I don't know. I'm not a weatherman. Mike Syka, he's our local weatherman. I'm not him, but what I can tell you is you should expect snow because number one, we're in Buffalo, but number two, Cheektowaga does get a healthy amount of snow.
Yes, for sure. Now, speaking of weather, the second thing that Cheektowaga has been getting lately too, I don't know if because of snow melting. I know a lot of the town has been redoing a lot of sewer pipes, but it has been flooding a little bit lately. Not so much closer to like the Amherst area, but like Matt said, closer to that South Cheektowaga area, you have been getting some flooding. And when it's a really, really windy or really windy and rainy day, there has been many power outages. So I remember I showed up to gym. Power outage, gone. Literally, I'm working out, all the power went out, right? I stopped, I left that gym, went to the gym around the corner off Union, which is East Porter, same thing. I'm like, it's just one of those things that Cheektowaga is experiencing. It could be, again, because it's a central hub, there's so much power pulling, airport, mall, all that good stuff. I don't know. But those three things alone have been killing us in the Cheektowaga area or those who live close by it. So, that being said, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Matt and I are here, to provide all the information that you guys need, especially if you guys are moving up to the Buffalo or Cheektowaga area, or you're already in the Cheektowaga area and you want to downsize or maybe get something bigger into the Amherst area. Make sure you guys hit us up with a call, email, and text. And Matt, any last words for the people?
We look forward to speaking with you.
All right. See you on the next one.
See you later.